This broadcast is part of a fictional program. The station and events depicted are not real. This audio is created for narrative and entertainment purposes only.
Good evening. You're listening to LWB, 1713 AM, the voice of the Kettle River Valley, and my name is Marcus Vell. It's a little past 11 o'clock on what my log still insists is an ordinary Tuesday night. I want to start the way I always start, because tonight I need something to hold on to, and routine is the strongest rope I've got. So, coffee's hot, board's lit. The transmitter out on the ridge is humming along at full power, and if you're hearing my voice right now, it means the tower is doing its job, and I am doing mine. I've been the overnight man at this station for 19 years. I know the sound of this valley at every hour. I know what the highway sounds like at 11. The long hiss of the occasional truck coming down out of the pass. I know the specific silence of the river when the wind lays flat. And I'm telling you that up front, that I know this place by ear. Because in about the last 40 minutes, something out there has started sounding wrong and I can't yet tell you what it is. It's not loud. That's the thing. If it were loud, I'd have a name for it. It's more like the valley took a breath and hasn't let it out. The river's gone quiet in a way it shouldn't be this time of year. My phone lines have that dead carpet hush you get before a storm. Except the sky is clear. I don't want to alarm anybody. Nothing has happened. I just have the feeling, sitting here alone in this little room, that something is about to. Stay with me. Let's find out together. Okay. First real update. And I want to be careful with it, because it makes no sense. We are 400 miles from the nearest ocean. I want you to hold that fact in your head for the next few minutes. 400 miles. Kettle River Valley is high, dry, landlocked, mountain country. The closest thing we have to a tide is the reservoir out past the Halvorsen place, going up and down when they run the dam. At 10:52 tonight, I started getting calls. Not many. 3, then 5. Then the switchboard just lit up all at once like a Christmas tree. And every single caller said a version of the same thing. They can smell the sea. Salt, cold salt air, brine, wet rock. That low iodine smell you get standing on a pier. Mrs. Okafor out on County Road 9 called first. And she's a sensible woman. She runs the feed store. She is not given to fancy. She said, "Marcus, I opened my window because the dog wouldn't settle, and it smells like Newport out there. Like the whole Atlantic drove up here and parked." I laughed. I did. I told her maybe somebody spilled a truckload of fertilizer. Then Dale from the volunteer fire department called, and Dale doesn't joke. Dale said the same thing. Salt. And then he said something I keep turning over. He said the smell isn't coming down the valley on the wind. He said it's coming up, out of the ground. I went to my own window a minute ago. I opened it. And I want to be a professional here. I want to be the calm voice you tune to at night, so I'll just report what I observed and let you make of it what you will. He's right. It smells like the sea. And there is no sea. Let's do this the right way. Let's rule things out, one at a time, because the worst thing I can do at 11 o'clock at night is scare a whole valley over something with a dull explanation. Number 1, chemical spill. A tanker overturned, something aromatic. Our nose is lying to us. I called the county dispatch line. It rang 11 times, and a very tired deputy named Ruiz picked up and told me, before I could even ask, "Is this about the smell?" So it's not just us. It's the whole county. And there's been no reported spill. No accident on the interstate. Nothing. Number 2, weather. An inversion layer trapping some industrial odor, pushing it around. I pulled up the regional radar out of habit. Clear, dead clear. No front, no cells, nothing but a strange flat band of what the software wants to call precipitation sitting directly over us, except it isn't moving, and it isn't falling, and I've never seen radar do that in 19 years. Number 3, and I almost don't want to say it because it's the one that isn't boring, the ground. Dale said it's coming up out of the ground. And now I've got 2 more callers. A couple out on the old mine road saying their well water has gone salty. Salt, in a mountain well, 400 miles inland and 1,000 feet up. I'm a radio man. I read the news, I read the weather, I take requests, I keep people company. I am not a geologist, but I know that salt water does not simply appear inside a granite aquifer in the space of one evening. Something is pushing it up here, and I'd very much like to know what's underneath us. I'm going to ask everyone listening to do something, and I want you to do it slowly and safely. Go to your nearest wall. An outside wall, foundation, basement, whatever you've got that touches the earth, and put your hand flat against it. I'll wait. I'm doing it too. There's a cinder block wall behind my board that goes straight down into the slab. Okay, you feel that? I feel it. I've been feeling it for the last few minutes and telling myself it's the transmitter, it's the furnace, it's a truck on the highway. It isn't. It's too slow to be any machine I know. It's a pulse, a long, low, patient pulse, coming up through the foundation into the flat of my hand. Not fast. Nothing like a heartbeat. It's far slower than that. If I had to count it, I'd say once every 11, 12 seconds. Steady, even, deliberate. The kind of even that machines are, or that living things aren't. Or, and this is the part I don't like, the kind of even that something makes when it wants you to notice it's even. I've got the caller board completely full now. Every line. I can't answer them fast enough. And through the glass of the booth, I can see out to the parking lot, out to the valley, and the lights of the town are all still on. Everybody's home is lit. Nobody's asleep. The whole valley is awake tonight with a hand on the wall, feeling the ground breathe. I've got a guest. I want to bring her on because we all need somebody who actually knows something right now, and I got lucky. Her name is Dr. Priya Anand. She teaches geophysics up at the State College campus, 40 minutes north, and she happened to be awake and listening, and she called in. And I have never in 19 years been so glad to hear a stranger's voice. Doctor, you there? I'm here, Marcus. And I want to say up front to everyone listening, I don't know what this is. I want to be honest about that from the start. I appreciate that. Most people wouldn't lead with it. Most people don't have to sit in front of the data I'm looking at. I have access to the regional seismic network, every station in the western half of the state. And starting at about 10:40 tonight, all of them, every single one, began recording the same signal. The pulse. The pulse. 12-second interval, near perfect regularity. Now, a natural seismic event, an earthquake, a tremor, a volcanic harmonic, those have signatures. They have chaos in them. They ring and they decay. They're messy, because the earth is messy. This has no chaos in it at all. The waveform is clean. It repeats. It's the cleanest thing I've ever seen come out of the ground, and it frightens me for exactly that reason. Doctor, the callers are saying salt water. Wells going brackish. 400 miles from the coast. Can you explain that? There was a pause. A long one. Long enough that I checked to make sure the line hadn't dropped. No, she said, I can't. Saltwater intrusion is a coastal phenomenon. For it to happen here at this elevation, you'd need a source of marine water beneath the continental crust, under pressure, being driven upward. And there is no such thing. There has never been such a thing. Until tonight. Until tonight, she said. Marcus, keep your listeners on the phone with you. I mean that. Right now, the most useful instrument I have is 9,000 people with their hands on their walls, telling us what they feel. Here's what we're going to do, and I need everyone's help, because Dr. Anand just gave me an idea, and I think it's a good one. I want you to call in and tell me one thing. Just one. When you put your hand on the wall, do you feel the pulse, yes or no? And where are you? Road, mile marker, landmark, whatever. That's it. Keep it short so I can get through more of you. We're building a map of the feeling. I've been taking these down for the last 10 minutes on the back of a program log with a grease pencil. And Dr. Anand's on the other line, plotting them as I read them out. And something is taking shape that I want to describe to you carefully. It's not everywhere equally. The pulse is strongest along the river, dead center of the valley floor. The Okafor place, the fire hall, the old rail depot, the reservoir road strong. Everybody there says it's strong. Some of them say the water in their glass is trembling with it, and it gets weaker as you climb. The folks up on the ridge, up near my transmitter, they say it's faint, or they can't feel it at all. Dr. Anand just came back on. Listen to this. Marcus, the intensity gradient follows the old watercourse. It follows where the water is and where the water table is highest, which means, whatever this is, it's traveling through water. It's using the water in the ground as a medium, a conductor. So it's under the river. It's under everything, but we're hearing it best through the water. And Marcus, one more thing. I called 2 colleagues, one in Colorado, one in the Great Lakes. And they have it too. Same pulse, same 12 seconds, same salt. So this isn't the valley. No, she said quietly. This is the whole continent, and I think it's the whole world. I need to interrupt the map for a second because something just changed, and I want it on the record with the exact time. It is 11:47 p.m. The interval changed. For the last hour, it's been 12 seconds. 12 seconds? You could set a clock by it, we all had. And about 90 seconds ago, it went to 11. And while I've been talking to you, it went to 10. It's speeding up. Dr. Anand confirms it on the seismic network. She's not speculating now. She's reading it straight off the screen, and her voice has changed. It's flatter. It's the voice people use when they're holding themselves very still. It's accelerating on a curve, she said, not linearly. It's compressing. 12, 11, 10, and the gaps between the changes are shrinking too. If this continues, and I don't know that it will, but if it continues, the interval reaches 0 somewhere in the next couple of hours. And I asked her the obvious thing. I asked, what happens at 0? And she said, at 0 it isn't a pulse anymore. At 0 it's continuous. It's one long sustained event. I don't know what the event is. I want to say something to the valley now, just for a moment, in my own voice and not the professional one. I can hear it now without my hand on the wall. It's in the floor, it's in the chair. It's in the coffee in my cup. There are rings moving across the surface of it, out from the center, in perfect time. 9 seconds now. We are landlocked. We are a mile above the sea. And the sea is knocking on the bottom of the world, and it is knocking faster. New call. I'm putting it straight through because the man is a county employee, and he's out there right now, and I trust what he's telling me. This is Gary Sepulveda. He operates the dam at the reservoir. Gary, go ahead. Tell them what you told me. Marcus, the reservoir's draining. Draining how? Not through the dam. The dam's shut. Spillway's shut. I've got everything closed. The water's going down anyway. It's dropping about a foot a minute. It's going down, into the ground. I don't have a word for it. The bottom of the reservoir has opened up. There's a place in the middle where the water is turning. It's spiraling down, like a bathtub. Except the hole in the bottom of a bathtub doesn't glow. Say that again, Gary. It's glowing, the water going down. It's got a light in it, blue, cold blue, coming up from underneath. Gary, I need you to get away from the water, right now. Whatever's happening, you don't need to be standing next to it. Get to your truck and get to high ground and stay on the line if you can. I'm going. Marcus, the smell of salt is coming right up out of that hole. And I can hear it now. Not the pulse. Underneath the pulse. There's something else. What is it? It sounds like a city, he said. It sounds like a whole city down there, waking up. And then his line went to static, and then it went dead, and I don't know where Gary Sepulveda is right now. And I would give a great deal to hear his voice again. I've been avoiding a word for about an hour now. You've probably been thinking it too, and I think it's time I said it out loud, because we're past the point where pretending helps anybody. Atlantis. There, I said it. And I want to be careful, because I am a radio host in a mountain valley and not a scientist. And the last thing this frightened valley needs is me leaning into a myth. So let me say what I actually mean. I don't mean the fairy tale. I don't mean the lost paradise, the crystal towers, the noble sunken kingdom of the storybooks. I don't know anything about any of that, and neither does anyone else. And anyone who tells you otherwise tonight is selling something. What I mean is simpler and worse. I mean that there is something under the ocean floor, under the continents. Something built. Something old enough that we forgot it. And every culture that ever lived near deep water kept a story about a city that went under, because maybe they weren't making it up. Maybe they were remembering. And I mean that tonight, all over the world, at the same instant, it turned itself back on. Dr. Anand, are you still with me? Tell me I'm being ridiculous. I would love for you to tell me I'm being ridiculous. I can't, Marcus. Her voice was very quiet. Because I'm looking at something I haven't shown you yet. The seismic network doesn't just record intensity. With enough stations, it can image structure, tomography. We use it to see the shape of things deep underground. For the last hour, I've been letting it build an image off this pulse, because the pulse is so clean it makes a perfect probe, and the image resolved about 10 minutes ago. What does it show? It shows geometry, straight lines, right angles, repeating units, kilometers across, thousands of them, extending under the continental shelf and inland, under us, far deeper than anything we've ever drilled. It's not a fault. It's not a magma body. Faults don't have corners, Marcus. This has corners. Corners. It has streets, she said, and her voice cracked on the word. I'm looking at streets. The word hung there in the booth with me. And under my feet, the pulse came at 6-second intervals, patient and enormous. The sound of streets I could not see filling up with a light I could not name. I want to tell you about a phone call I just took, because it did something to the back of my neck, and I think you should hear it. An old man called in. Wouldn't give his full name, just said to call him Aldous. Said he was 91 and he'd lived in this valley his whole life, and his grandmother lived in it before him, and hers before her, going back to before the town had a name. And he said, Marcus, you can stop being surprised now. Some of us have been waiting for this. I asked him what he meant. There's a song, he said. My grandmother taught it to me, and I never sang it to my own children because I thought it was foolishness, and now I'm sorry. It's a counting song. You count down, 12, 11, 10, and the last line says, when the counting stops, the doors will open, and the deep will ask if we remember. I asked him, remember what? Remember them, he said. The song says we lived down there once, before the water, that we're not the first ones, and we won't be the last. And that when the deep counts down, it's not a threat. It's a knock. It's them asking whether there's anyone up here worth opening the door for. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you a 91-year-old man's grandmother's song is scientific fact, but I'll tell you what unsettled me. Dr. Anand was still on the other line, listening, and after Aldous hung up, she was quiet for a while, and then she said, the interval. It started at 12. Yes, there are 12 in his song. Yes. Marcus, folk memory doesn't get lucky like that. Either that's a coincidence, or that count has come up before, and people survive to make a song about it, and the song outlived the reason. Which would mean, I said, that this has happened before. Which would mean, she said, that this has happened before, and the last time, whoever was knocking, we didn't answer. I need to talk to you for a minute. You, personally. Whoever you are, wherever you're hearing this, in a kitchen, in a truck, in a bed you can't sleep in, with your hand on a wall that won't stop moving. I want to be honest about what I can and can't do for you tonight. I can't tell you this is safe. I won't lie to you. That's not the deal we have, you and I, all these years in the dark together. When the storms come, I tell you where the ditches are flooding. When the roads close, I tell you which ones. I have never once told you it was fine when it wasn't. And I'm not going to start now, on the biggest night any of us will ever live through. But here's what I can tell you. You are not alone out there. I've got the whole valley on these phone lines. I've got a scientist 40 miles north reading me the bones of the earth. I've got a 91-year-old man singing me his grandmother's song. Colorado has it, the Great Lakes have it. And if it's the whole world, then somewhere right now, there are 1 billion people with a hand on a wall, feeling exactly what you feel. Thinking exactly what you think. That's the thing I keep coming back to. Whatever is down there, whatever is counting it, made all of us stop and listen at the same moment. It made the whole surface of the planet go quiet and pay attention together. And I don't know if that's a threat or an invitation, but I know we're facing it together. And I'm going to keep this microphone on until I can't. Intervals at 4 seconds now. Stay with me. I have to describe something, and I need you to trust that I'm describing it accurately, because it is very hard to believe even while I'm looking at it. The valley is glowing. Not the sky. The ground. I'm standing at the big window of the booth. I've got the mic on the long cord. And out across the whole floor of the valley, the earth has started to give off light. That cold blue Gary described at the reservoir, it's everywhere now. It's coming up through the soil. It's tracing lines. Lines, listeners. Straight lines and right angles, exactly like Dr. Anand's image, exactly like she said. The glow is coming up along the streets of the thing beneath us. And from up here at the station, I can see it laid out across the dark valley floor, like the lights of a city seen from an airplane at night. A city. Under our town. Bigger than our town. It was always there. We built our little wooden lives on the roof of it, and we never knew. And now somebody down there has turned the lights on. The river's gone. I can see the riverbed, and there's no water in it. The water went down like the reservoir, and where the river was, there's a channel of that blue light, brightest of all, the main avenue of a place with no name. The pulse is at 2 seconds, almost continuous now. It's less like a knock and more like a held breath about to become a word. Dr. Anand is still on the line. I can hear her breathing. I asked her what happens when it reaches 0, and she said she didn't know, and I believe her. And I think for the first time all night she's stopped trying to find out from her instruments and started just listening, the way the rest of us are. Here it comes. It reached 0 at 1:16 in the morning, and I want to tell you what I expected because it matters. I expected the ground to open. I expected water or destruction, or that we would all be pulled down into the shining streets. I braced for it. I said a goodbye in my head to people I love. I think a lot of you did too. That's not what happened. When the pulse reached 0, it did not become chaos. It became a note. One single, sustained, low tone, coming up out of the whole earth at once, through the floor, through the walls, through the air, through my own chest. I can feel it in my teeth. It's the most enormous sound I've ever experienced, and it is also, somehow, gentle. It doesn't hurt. It's the sound a cathedral would make if the whole building were an instrument and someone leaned on one key and held it, and the valley didn't shake. The valley steadied. The trembling in my coffee stopped. The rattling in the window frame stopped. Everything that had been shivering all night went still, held inside that one enormous note, like a hand closing very softly around something fragile. The lights in the ground brightened, and then, all along the shining streets below, shapes began to rise. I'm choosing that word carefully. Not attack, not swarm. Rise slow. The way steam rises off a lake at dawn. Columns of that cold blue light standing up out of the streets of the city under my valley. Tall as grain silos. Taller, and turning, slowly turning as if they were looking around a world they hadn't seen in a very, very long time. Dr. Anand whispered one word on the line. "Hello," she said. To them, not to me. Something is happening to the sound. The note, the one enormous held note, it's changing, not louder. It's acquiring texture, structure. It's the difference between wind and a voice. The wind was always capable of being a voice, and now it's choosing to be one. And I understand this is going to sound insane, but I have to report what's happening in this room, so here it is. The note is going through languages. For about 30 seconds it sounded like nothing, like pure tone. Then it started to break into syllables, and the syllables kept shifting. And Dr. Anand, who speaks 4 languages, said she caught fragments. A word of Greek, a word of something she thought was Sumerian. Then Mandarin, then something older than any of them that she couldn't place. Then English, then back to something with no name. It's cycling through every language humanity has ever spoken. Fast, faster every second. Like something down there found a library and is reading the whole thing at once, out loud, trying to find the right shelf. Trying, I think, to find us, to find the words we'd understand. And then it stopped cycling. It settled. And a single sentence came up through the floor of my radio station in plain, clear English, in a voice that was not one voice but thousands speaking as one. and it said, "I'm going to read it to you, exactly." I wrote it down as it came because I did not trust myself to remember it right. It said, "You kept the counting. You made it a song for children. Thank you for remembering us badly. Badly is enough." That's it. That's what it said. And then the columns of light out in the valley all turned together and faced this direction. Faced the ridge. Faced the town. Faced, I think, the sound of my transmitter. The only human voice going out across the whole dark valley tonight. They heard the radio. Of everything we ever made, the thing that reached them, the thing that answered their knock, was a man in a booth, talking to strangers in the dark. Dr. Anand is off the line. I don't mean she hung up. I mean she stopped speaking. And then, after a minute, she came back, and her voice was completely different, calm in a way that scared me more than any of her fear had, and she said, "Marcus, I have to go down." I asked her what she meant. "There's a way down," she said. "It opened near the campus, a stair, blue light. Some of my colleagues are already walking toward it. And I want to be clear with you and with everyone listening. Nothing is pulling me. Nothing is making me. I'm not compelled. I'm not enchanted. It's not like that. I've spent my whole life trying to see the shape of things under the ground, and the shape of things under the ground just asked, politely, whether anyone up here would like to come and see, and I find that I would. I asked her, is it safe? And she laughed. A real laugh. The first one all night. Marcus, no. Of course it isn't safe. It's the least safe thing anyone has ever done. But my grandmother didn't have a song, and yours probably didn't either. And I think that's the difference between the people who stayed on the surface last time and the people who went down and became a legend. Someone has to go and find out. Someone has to be the one who answers instead of the one who hides. I told her to be careful. It was a stupid thing to say, and we both knew it, and she thanked me for it anyway. The way you thank someone for a kindness that can't possibly help. Then she said the thing I can't stop hearing. She said, "Keep talking, Marcus. Whatever you do, they followed your voice up. If any of us are going to be able to find our way back to the surface, keep the light on. Keep talking so we can hear where up is." And she was gone. The lines are still open. I want you to know that. As long as this station has power, I am not closing these lines. And I'm getting two kinds of calls now. And I want to describe both, because I think you're all trying to decide which kind of person you are. And you shouldn't have to decide alone. Some people are going down. Not many, but some. Calm people, curious people. People who called to say goodbye, not in fear but the way you'd say it heading out on a long trip. Mrs. Okafor from the feed store called. She said she'd walk down to where the river used to be, where the light is, and there's a broad shining stair going down into the warm, and she's going to take it. And she wanted me to know it wasn't sadness that was moving her. "I've run that feed store 40 years, Marcus," she said. "I've never once in my life been the first person to see something. I'd like to be, before I'm done, just once. And some people are staying. Also, not out of fear. Dale from the fire hall called to say he's staying up top, because if anybody comes back up out of that stair cold and confused and needing help, somebody ought to be at the surface with blankets and hot coffee and a familiar face. You go down or you stay up and hold the door, he said. Both are jobs. I'm a doorman. Down or up. Go and see, or stay and hold the light. I don't think either one is wrong tonight. I truly don't. And I think the fact that nobody's screaming, that the choosing is gentle, I think that might be the strangest and most human thing that's happened all night. You might be wondering which one I am, the kind who goes or the kind who stays. I've been asking myself that for the last 20 minutes, and I've got my answer. And I want to give it to you straight because I owe you that. I'm staying. And I want to be honest that it isn't courage. Part of me wants to go so badly it aches. To see the streets. To be the first. To walk down into the warm blue and finally know. After a whole night of not knowing. After 19 years of describing a valley I could only ever see the surface of. God, I want to see it. But Dr. Anand said something and it lodged in me like a hook. She said, "Keep the light on. Keep talking so we can hear where up is." They followed my voice up out of the dark. And the people going down tonight, Mrs. Okafor, Priya Anand, all the quiet, curious, brave ones someday, some of them might want to come back. And when they do, in that enormous shining dark, they're going to need a sound to steer by. A human voice up here, going out across the valley, saying this way, "This is the surface, this is home, we kept the light on for you." That's a job too. Dale's right, it's a doorman's job. Somebody has to be the one who stays at the top of the stair and keeps talking, so that going down isn't the same as being lost. So I'm going to be that. I'm going to sit in this booth and I am going to keep this microphone hot, and I am going to keep talking until the power fails, or the sun comes up, or somebody I love climbs back up out of the light. It's 2:40 in the morning now. I want to give you an honest state of things, the way I would on any night when the storm's still on, but the worst of it has passed over. The great note is still going, but it's changed again. It's lower now, and steadier, and it's stopped feeling like a question. All night it felt like something asking. Now it feels like something breathing. Slow, even enormous breathing, all around and beneath us. Like the whole world lying down next to something very large and very old, and both of them deciding, for now, to rest. The columns of light in the valley have stopped turning. They're just standing there, tall and patient, along the shining streets. Some of them have dimmed. I think, and this is only a guess, I think the ones that have dimmed are the ones where somebody went down, like a porch light left on going quiet once the guest is finally inside. The river hasn't come back. I don't know if it ever will. There's a good chance the map of this valley is different forever now, that we live somewhere new even though we never moved. The salt smell is fading. The wells, folks tell me, have gone sweet again. Whatever pushed the sea up through the world to get our attention, it doesn't need to shout anymore. It knocked, we heard. Some of us opened the door. It can speak quietly now. I keep waiting to be afraid, and I keep finding instead this strange, steady awe sitting in my chest where the fear should be. It's still knocking somewhere, but softer, like it knows we're home. Something just happened and I'm shaking a little, so bear with me. The phone rang. One line, the studio line, the direct one. And I picked it up, and there was a long rushing sound, like the inside of a shell held to your ear, that vast ocean hush. And then a voice. It was Priya, Dr. Anand. She's down there, and she called me, and I don't understand how a phone works 4 kilometers under the continental crust, and I have decided tonight is not the night to worry about how phones work. I asked her, "Are you all right? Tell me you're all right." And she said yes. She said it slowly, like someone waking up, like someone who'd seen too much to have quick words for any of it. She said, "Marcus, I can't describe it. I'm not going to try, not properly, not yet, but I want to tell you one thing so the surface knows, so you can tell them. Tell me. It's not a conquest," she said. "It's not an invasion. Nobody's coming up to take anything. They don't want the surface. They gave us the surface. That's what the song got wrong, and right at the same time, we did live down here once, all of us. Everything that's alive up top came up from here, a long time ago, and they've been keeping the machine running the whole time. The lights, the pulse, under everything. Just in case any of us ever wanted to come home and see how it started. That's all this is, Marcus. It's a door being held open. It was always held open. We just forgot there was a door." And then she said, "I can hear you down here, your station. It's the clearest thing there is. Keep talking. It's how I know which way is up." And the shell sound swallowed her, and she was gone again and back into the light. The sky's going gray in the east now. Ordinary gray. The most beautiful ordinary I've ever seen. And I want to give you the dawn report, because after a night like this, we have earned an ordinary dawn report, and I intend to deliver it like the professional you tuned in for. The sun is coming up over the pass. The columns of blue light in the valley are fading in it, the way stars fade. Not going away exactly, just stepping back to let the day have its turn. The shining streets are still down there under the soil. They'll be down there tomorrow, and 1,000 years from tomorrow. But you can't see them in daylight. You have to know they're there. We know now. We'll never not know again. The river hasn't returned, but the birds are singing, which they do not do when something's wrong, so I'll take the birds as a second opinion I trust. The valley's still here, the town's still here. Most of us stayed, some of us went. Dale's down at the old riverbed right now, with a truck full of blankets and a thermos, sitting at the top of the shining stair, waiting in case anybody comes back up cold. A doorman, holding the door. And I'm still here, in this booth, where I've been every night for 19 years, and where I'll be tomorrow night too, because there are people down in the warm blue dark who told me my voice is how they'll find their way back. And I am not going to be the man who went quiet. I'll keep the light on. I promised. That's the whole job now. Talk, so the ones who went down can hear where home is. It's coming up on 6 in the morning, and I think the longest night this valley has ever known is over. Or at least it's changed into a morning. Which is not the same as over, but it's what we've got, and I'll take it. So let me do the thing I do. Let me sign off the way I always do. Because if there was ever a night that needed to end on something ordinary, it's this one. If you went down tonight, Mrs. Okafor, Dr. Anand, all of you brave, curious souls walking the streets of the oldest city there is, I hope you're seeing something wonderful. Come back up when you're ready. There's coffee and there's a doorman waiting and there's a valley up here that will always be your home, no matter how much older the one below it turns out to be. And if you stayed, thank you for staying with me. Thank you for the calls, for the hands on the walls, for the map we made together out of grease pencil and fear in each other's voices. We got through the night the only way anybody ever gets through a night. Together, out loud, in the dark. Keep your porch lights on. Somebody might be climbing back up toward them. This is Marcus Vell. The sun is up over the Kettle River Valley. And you've been listening all night. Every one of you to LWB 1713 AM. Stay with us. We'll be here. Signing off.